meters, I looked, I was there. Okay, let's keep going. First 400 meters, that first lap around, I was spot on. I was a little faster than I needed to be, but that's okay. It's money in the bank, time in the bank. So the second lap, I was feeling good. The heat started to get to me because I was in Winter Park. Even though it was 8 o'clock in the morning, you've got your humidity that's sky high, but I was prepared. I knew that. I had done my mental, emotional, everything was there mentally to get myself through this. So I knew there was going to be pain, discomfort. We won't call it pain, discomfort. It's my way of getting as close as I can to that wall because everybody feels it when you're racing like this. And I was ready for it. And then by the third lap, which is usually my downfall, I knew that needed to be my strongest effort. And I gave everything I had at that point, knowing I still had enough for that last lap, because your last lap is my easiest. I don't want to say it's everybody's, but it's my easiest because you know the end is there. It's the third lap that is the killer for me. So that was where I knew I had to give it my best attempt, and I did. And when I came around on that third lap, I saw that I was still spot on. So as I entered that fourth lap, I knew if I hadn't, that I had to hit that last 200 leg before the finish, before a 5 minutes, or I wasn't going to make it. And when I saw, picking up my watch, that extra effort of looking at the time, when I hit that last 200, and I saw the number I needed, which was under 5, I knew I could do it. And that's when all I did was put it into my arms. I zoned out and I just churned as fast as I could. And it was just such a great feeling.
That's inspiring.
Yeah, it was just so fun.
Where was the rest of the competition at this point? Where from in the third lap?
I don't even know. It's funny because it wasn't about who came in first, second, or third, which, this race, it was about my American record and my time. So in this particular case, one of the girls had jumped off because it was such a hot day. There was a guy who was in front of me, and he's a faster guy, so he did finish right in front of me, but we weren't racing against each other. And then a couple other girls who were behind. So to my knowledge, that was it. And it was all about me in my own head.
That's awesome. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break for our sponsors and have them say a couple words, and then we'll be right back. This episode of the Inner Fire Endurance Sports Podcast is brought to you by my favorite bike shop, Outspoken Bicycles. Serving the community with the top cycling maintenance, fitting, and customer service professionals, Outspoken is the bike shop for anyone from the occasional rider to the elite mountain, road, or triathlon athlete. Providing bikes and accessories from the top manufacturers like Giant, Felt, and Specialized, Outspoken Bicycles can fulfill all of your cycling needs. Outspoken Bicycles, here in South Tampa, Clearwater, Florida, or at www.outspoken.net. Again, that's www.outspoken.net. All right, we're back with Lynn Cooke. So we'll go through some, I don't want to call it a lightning round, but just some things that are just a little bit faster to talk about. So we all have online tools. There's always, there's Training Peaks, which is obviously something that I use. There's Map My Run, all these great little online tools. What's your favorite online tool?
Well, the Garmin.
Well,
online. Okay,
online
so
tool,
yeah. I like Training Peaks because that's my coach and my's ability to talk. Okay. He sees what I do. I see that he sees what I do. I like to be accountable to somebody. So it makes me do better when I know Big Brother's watching, and I'm going to get in trouble for it if I don't do it right.
Oh, okay.
So I have to say Training Peaks is a very great tool. I do like Strava. I like to be able to connect with my running group because I actually connect with a lot of people who I race with in USA Track and Field who are on across the country and in other countries. So that's really fun to be able to follow them, and they inspire you, you inspire them, and it's just a whole bunch of fun running community. So I have to say the Strava and the Training Peaks are two of my favorites.
Those are two of my favorites.
Yeah.
I love Strava because I can do a segment and then I can see all of my teams.
Yep.
So I have a local team, I've got my training team, and I've got my national team, and I can see all of them, and I can see where I am, and I'm usually in the bottom. Okay, so so that's the online tool. So what about a physical tool that you really enjoy? You mentioned your watch, so I have to say that's probably one of them.
Yeah, Garmin I've learned to be just probably more glued to than I should be, but it does have its, there are reasons to use it in my books, and I love my Garmin. I in fact, if I've ever left home without it, I've turned around and gone back to get it.
Yeah.
It's that important to me. But I mean, if you want to consider my running shoes are very important to me. I have certain favorites for certain distances, and regardless of whether I represent and am sponsored by New Balance, I love their shoes. They have never given me a blister yet, and their toe box is built for a foot like mine. And I have two of my favorites that if anybody asks me about them, I can talk about them all day long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I am definitely a shoe fan. Your shoe will make or break you. And, my shoes are important to me.
Well, we always see the celebrities out there always talking about Nike and talking about this and that. So here you hear, folks, you've got an American record holder who not only endorses New Balance, is sponsored by New Balance, but wears them all the time. And I'm looking at her right now, and she's wearing a New Balance top too. So the girl is New Balance, and what she says is the truth right there. So let's talk about a time when you failed. So a lot of times we don't talk about this. There's people talk about how they're great and blah blah blah, and even your very first race on the track, you got a silver. So, but let's talk about a time when you felt like you failed, like it didn't work for you, and then why, and then how did things change?
When I went out for the American Mile, it wasn't, or the American record. This attempt that I did in Winter Park, where I did achieve it, was not my first attempt. It was actually where I flew to Portland, Oregon with my significant other and other teammates and friends to go out there because there was the mile being offered. And I thought, we're better than Portland, Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
And so here you've spent a lot of money and you have your fans, and support group with you. And they've spent a lot of money, and everybody's, taking the time to come and watch you break this American record. That was where, when I didn't hit it, I felt like a failure, because it wasn't just for me at that point. It was for others too, who had taken the time and spent the money, that they had done that. And I didn't do what was expected of me. So they did not judge me that way. I judged me that way. But, I just had to shake it off and move past it and know that I was going to do it the next time. And that's what drove me even harder on this Winter Park achievement when I did break it, was that I had failed one time and I didn't want to fail again. So I knew I could do it physically. There was no doubt. I had done all the training for it. I knew the numbers were there. The physical ability was there. There's so much mental that goes with it. And I think it just wasn't the right environment. So.
Okay. So you attribute that what you call a failure. I don't call it a failure. I think it was that you have to keep try right. Again. But you basically, you think it was more of a mental aspect, that you just weren't ready or wasn't? Well,
I think you can blame it on a lot of things. There were some women that were playing some strategy games, not knowing that I was going for an American record, and they were getting in front of me and then pulling back. And so I was having to surge and spending a lot of energy going around. So, I can sit there and say that was, but excuses to me are just a way of, I don't like excuses. And whether it be the weather or, it takes a lot to break records. It takes the perfect scenario. Not only do you have to be in your perfect physical condition and know your paces and know what you're going to be doing, you have to have a good night's sleep. You have to have good nutrition in you. All the stars have to align. And then you've got to have your environment. It was raining that day in Portland, and we thought it was just going to be a nasty weather condition. The wind gusts were up to 30 miles an hour. I thought that was going to be, my hurdle. But it ended up being, a couple of girls who were just playing tactics and wanted to slow me down and my teammate down, in fact, and they managed to. But I still think I could have done it, if it had really meant to happen that particular time. So you can use whatever excuses you want.
Right.
But that, to me, was my own failure in whatever reason it happened. And, I felt kind of bad.
Well, that's good self-actualization. I mean, but you learned from it, and then you came in and went
did.
apart and took care of it.
Yep.
So I think that's a good stepping stone. So, all right, so we talked about your American record. Would you consider that your most glorious moment in running?
I think so far, only because I've done the golds, and your first national gold, national championship is really cool. But I've done enough of those that's not the big thing right now.
Right.
The American record, the record is now what I want, because I just felt so good that I had done that, where it's not done all the time. And it just, I just want more. So that was my carrot, and that is now my carrot right now.
Well, very cool. So we're going to wrap this up here real quick. But so is there anything else that you just kind of want to let the audience know about? Is there any words of advice, words of wisdom?
I want to really stress that never listen to someone who says you can't do something. And, the fact that I had a coach when I was young who said I was too slow, that I could not run track, or that I could not run, basically, is what he was trying to insinuate, that I was too slow. Don't let that totally direct your life to never wanting to try something that you think you would enjoy. And the fact that I went back to it and found that at age almost 60, I am pretty fast. I'm not that bad of a runner. And the thrill it gives me with running, and it's not just because of winning, I really get a kick out of getting out there and running on a track fast. And the fact that someone took that away for 40 plus years of my life, when I could have enjoyed it all this time, is kind of sad. So I would say to someone, don't let someone else direct your life by saying you can't do something. Go out and prove that you can. We all have that ability. Just believe in yourself.
Absolutely. I could not have said that any better, because I was told the same thing. And we had talked about this in two episodes ago. And I said, a neurosurgeon and an orthopedic surgeon said that I'd never run more than 2 miles for the rest of my life. And that was 5 Ironmans ago, and 27 marathons, and, the whole bit. So definitely, I agree with that wholeheartedly. You can't let haters will hate. Right? Yeah. We didn't have it back when when that coach showed you not to. We didn't have that word, but haters will hate. They just want to keep you down. So you got to be strong in the head. So
I agree.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I just wanted to ask you if there's any shout outs or anything that you want to give.
Well, I have a team, and I couldn't do it without my team. I have an awesome, obviously, coach that we both share, which is John Nolan. And I also have Drew Macnam, he's been amazing. I couldn't do it without both of them. And I have to say, I've got a dietitian, Sean Vanderveer, who has helped me. I changed 2.5 pounds of fat into 2.5 pounds of muscle.
Awesome.
Which was amazing to me as an older person or a mature person. And then I have a wonderful physical therapy, Brian Gilloway, that has done amazing things in keeping me on the road. I did shock him a little when I was telling him I was going to do steeplechase. But after he pulled his chin off the ground and listening to me saying that, knowing his work was going to be even that much harder, he said, okay, let's do it. So these are the people that have supported me. And then, of course, my significant other, Dr. Gary Dworkin, who has been the person who has changed my life in getting me to realize I can run too. So thank you to everyone who has supported me. And I can't wait to do more.
All right. Well, we will be standing by and keep giving people updates on the records that you'll break from here on out. So thank you so much again. I really appreciate this. This is my first interview, and we're ending it right now. So thank you again. Well, I really hoped you enjoyed that interview with Lynn Cooke. And I'm sure that you heard all the struggles I was having as my first interview, but it's going to get better. I really hope, and I'm pretty positive that I can get better as I do in more and more interviews and do more of these podcasts, which I am totally psyched about doing. So there's a couple things